So I'm on. I'm trying to get on more often, but I live a pretty busy life, and so I'm just getting in. So I'm in for the night, and I actually have on makeup, which I don't do that often, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I look cute, sometimes I just look regular. Just depends on how I'm feeling. But anyhow, so I wanted to talk about the like journaling and what. So when someone's wanting to journal, it's always good to keep track or at least to understand how you're feeling. And sometimes that's what journaling really does is it lets you at least know what's going on. But you can also take it to the extreme where you're like now you're planning everything. And you're like, at age 25 I'm going to get married and at age 27 I'm going to have my first child and so I took it like to the extreme with planning where I literally had like my entire life planned out from the moment I was going to be with, meet my man and everything. And the thing about it is that you can do the planning this way and it can literally kind of happen this way. But then at a certain point you realize that it doesn't actually mean anything like because all the planning that you're doing, you really don't know what you're doing. You just making stuff up based off of what you've been told you're supposed to be doing. Like, this is how much money I'm supposed to be making at this age. And I don't know, this is the life that I'm supposed to have right now based off of what I've read somewhere or what I've seen on TV. And so that's kind of what happened was I went through all of that and then it wasn't until I just gave it all up, meaning I said, forget all these plans because they're ridiculous and I really have no interest in making plans that everything just came without me wanting it. It was just already there. It was like, you know, let's do this now and here comes this and here comes that. So everything was kind of there as soon as I was like, you know what? I don't want to plan it anymore. I don't want to have control over it anymore. So ultimately it's planning is pointless because when you try to really plan it, your limited perspective that you give it provides little safety for it. It provides little actual, it doesn't actually help anything because you don't know the whole. And there's no way from your little limited perspective that you're focused on at the moment that you can actually consider or conceive of the whole. So that's why trying to make those types of plans, like those specific types of plans, like this is the age I'm going to have my first child and it's going to be with this person and we're going to get married here on this day and this location and all that stuff. And it kind of goes along with the MASH thing because the MASH thing is it's fun because it gives you this possibility that's like it's completely made up, but it actually does kind of show you a possibility based on some type of energy field that's there. But again, it's just that. And so getting caught up on this and thinking that you have to have things a certain way is ultimately what leads you to be unhappy because you start to make up a specific plan for yourself and doesn't always happen that way, which is why it's always better to focus on the feeling of the end result that you're looking for. Like maybe the end result is that you just want peace and abundance and you just, I mean, that's pretty much what everybody wants, so everyone really has the same goal, and how it looks for each person is different because of what each person will allow and what each person is actually comfortable with. Because not everybody wants to live in a mansion. Um, I personally wouldn't want to live in a mansion because I really don't like cleaning up all that. And I don't, also, you could say, oh, well, why don't you just get a maid and blah, 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 blah. And, that's fine and dandy, but it's like the maid would have to be part of my family. Like that's how, because that's the way that I am. Like I want the people that are around me, I want them to feel like we're all together in it, and I'm not like ordering them around type of thing. But that's just my personality. Um, so maybe planning isn't really helpful as far as specifics, but that doesn't mean that it's not needed, because there are some future things that really should be planned for, that you are kind of made aware of. And this is when it what comes with intuition, or just having that awareness. So what'll happen is, maybe, and this happened to me, I can give you an example even today. Well, it started maybe about a week ago, or maybe it was less than that, maybe 3 days ago. And I said to my husband, I'm like, oh, I think we need to get a key. Like, I need to get the key to the house. I need to have my separate key, because I don't know where it is. And it wasn't like I just came up with that totally on my own. It seemed like it came out of nowhere, but it actually was this little voice that was there, or this, it's your own voice. I mean, that's the way it works, because it's you. All of it's you. Even you're looking at your life, it's already over. You're looking at it, you're replaying it. So you know already everything. But because you're replaying it and you're so focused on it, you block off the fact that you already know everything. So it's like one of those things, because the way the voice is it's really small, and it's like, oh, maybe you should do this, because it already knows exactly what's going to happen. So then of course, we end up getting locked out of the house and not having a key, basically. And I'm like, you know what? I did say to you the other day that I probably should get a key, and look, now we're locked out. And he's like, yeah, you kind of did say that. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of heard that and just didn't listen. And then there's been other times where I've actually heard it and I listened, and then I think like, wow, wait a minute, I actually listened and I did this, and now this is exactly what I need at this point. And I can give you an example of that. One, back when I lived in New York, we would go on shopping trips sometimes, and I think we actually went to New Jersey, to like some of the malls, because there isn't any actual like big, huge. There isn't any big box type malls in New York City, so you have to go like outside of the city, outside of Manhattan and like Times Square area, to go to like these big box malls. And where I was working at the time, we needed a big box mall, because we needed to go to like the sporting goods type stores that were like the larger scale kind, to do our research. And so anyway, we're there, and like I had money on me, and I normally don't carry money on me, and I had like maybe, I don't know, $30 or something. And I don't normally carry more than 10, because I just have my cards. Um because normally, we'll just use the company card or whatever for whatever it is that we're doing. So it turned out though that like the day before that, I had bought something and I had the cash, and then I had heard this voice that was like, "Don't use your cash. Use your card now, because you're gonna need your cash. You're gonna need your cash later." And I thought, that's odd. I don't see why I would need my cash. But I went ahead and I kept my cash. And then I went, and so it turned out that when we were in New Jersey, it was like some freak situation where it was snowing, and like the trains back, because you had to take one of those like Amtrak type trains, like I don't even remember. And anyhow, my point is that it turned out that the exact amount of money that I had was what we needed, and their systems were down, and there was no way to use a credit card. And it was like completely like just crazy amounts of events. And then I turned out that I had like the exact, I mean, of course I could get reimbursed for it, but just the fact that I had the exact amount of cash like in my wallet, and like my other coworker that I was with like didn't have it either. And it was like, wow, like I really have done all of it. Like I really am looking back at all of this and I already know everything and I really can just listen and I will know what to do. But the thing about it is the way the planning goes when you're actually doing it with your intuition, with your higher self, is it's not like you're planning, at least not for me, not yet. I mean, maybe it is that way for some people. Maybe there is a way that it's that way, but I don't know that it is. I think it depends on the timeline because the timelines change, so it's almost like little perspective changes and changes in choice change the timeline, which then changes the minute things that may happen. But it's like the moment that something's set up, there's agreements that are made with you and with the other people involved. And so that's how when the agreement's made, when the agreements have been made, like the agreements that are unconscious that you're not aware of it. Like there was an unconscious agreement that was made between me, my coworkers, the whole situation that happened where I was not going to have like we were going to have cash. So when that agreement was made, there was a moment where I could have had it, and then I made the choice to keep it. Now, like if I didn't have it, it would have been okay. But what would have happened was that we would have been stuck there for I want to say 2 or 3 more hours, which for my coworker, I think it might not have been good because I think she had to. Actually, I think it would have been okay, but it would have just been really sucky because we would have got home like super late from work, so we would have been home like I don't know 9 o'clock at night or something when nobody wants to stay at work that late. But it wouldn't have been like oh my gosh, this is horrible. We're stranded for life or something. But it's just it would have been inconvenient, like me being locked out of my house earlier today was inconvenient for a short time. And the thing about it is, even these little inconveniences, sometimes they're unavoidable because you've made the agreement for the inconvenience. And so that means you want the inconvenience. You literally want it for whatever reason, whatever lesson. But sometimes it's just actually you may have agreed to not have it done in this way. And then if you're paying attention, you can have it there available to you to move forward in whatever way. So that's kind of what I mean with planning. Like it's already perfectly planned for your benefit. So there's really nothing to worry about. There's really no way that things can go wrong, quote unquote, because it's already been done, it's already over. But what may seem to happen is it may seem to be um, inconveniences. It may seem to be that maybe you're not quite as comfortable as you like, or maybe you're not quite as. And that might happen because you're not paying attention and you're not flowing with it as much. So it's not so much planning because most likely, whatever it is, you're only going to know about it maybe, I don't know, a few weeks or so in advance. But one thing I will say from my experience is death is something that's planned far in advance. For the most part, like it's not something that the time that you are to die, quote unquote, from your body is agreed upon, and the agreements can change. But when they change, there's still like it's usually not like point blank change and then it's done, it's over. It's like change and then it's months or years or whatever, and then I don't know. I just because I've one thing that I find that I have a strong intuition on with a lot of times is births and deaths with people that are close to me or like family and stuff. And from what I've experienced with it, it's something where, oh my God, so and so's gonna die, and then it doesn't happen for like almost a year, you know. So the agreement was made like 6 months before the actual um, transition. And it's not even, I mean, these are the sudden ones, even the sudden ones where it's like they're in the hospital, they're dead. You know what I mean? Like within 2 weeks or something. Even those, it's like six. And I mean, this is like probably not gonna be too like I might be going a little too far with like what I'm talking about because I don't think everybody's all the way ready to think that they would agree to stuff like that. And it's not something that's conscious; it's unconscious. But trust me, that all of it is agreed on, and on some level. So, but anyhow, yeah. And so that's how planning can work. I mean, it's like, hey, you agreed. Like, oh, I agreed to die. Just kidding. So I guess that's my plan, right? I mean, come on. But no, it's just that's kind of what I wanted to say. And as far as journaling goes, it's also good to do automatic writing, and I like to do it typing because when I ask the question, I can usually answer the question and I write faster typing because whenever it happens where you can hear it in your head too, like on the audio, but with audio, sometimes it goes so fast that you immediately almost forget what you heard, at least for me sometimes. Um, so I have to like backtrack or something. But that's really all I wanted to talk about was just the whole journaling. What it could be for planning, kind of how the planning could work, especially when you're talking about planning future things and a lot of times it's like with intuition, it's a plan, but you have no idea what it's for. Like I didn't know what I needed to save the money for, like why I didn't need to spend it when I went to the store, why I should keep it. I didn't know why until it was time to actually use it. That's when I knew why. But before I didn't know why. Like I couldn't actually tell you, oh, I'm going to need it for this, 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 and this. And then with the death, I also did it. I don't know exactly how or why. It's just I know that it was agreed, or I know, like, I know, or I mean, when someone's pregnant, it's like you kind of know they're pregnant. Like maybe you just have the knowing, okay, so and so's pregnant. Um, do I know for sure what's gonna happen, like throughout the whole thing? No. And the same thing goes with all of it. Like you have maybe a little voice that tells you that you should do this or do that, as long as it's a peaceful one. Because if it's one that's fearful, then it's obviously not coming from the right place. So if it's bringing you peace, then it's coming from the right place. If it's bringing you